I mean, I don't fucking know. Always somebody would break their tailbone. You know, like that was the thing. If you didn't break your tailbone by the time that you were like 12, what the fuck were you doing?
No respect in the street.
No respect in the
hard?
street, man. Well, yeah, we were going hard.
So yeah, because you had like you lived outside of Tucson, whereas we lived outside of Chicago, so much bigger. So it was sort of like
You were city
any
kids.
direction we
No,
went.
we were suburban kids. It was a suburb for sure.
Yeah.
Full-blown
Like
suburb.
almost 30 minutes north of the city, or at least 30 minutes.
Could you guys have like got a bus and gone into the city?
Yes, or like a train, certainly.
See, to me, that's hardcore. Like we couldn't have gone anywhere. I remember thinking I was going to run away from home, and I told my sisters, they were like 6 and 7 years older than I was, and I was like on this mad kick. I wouldn't take my roller skates off, so they were like, okay, all right, we'll help you run away from home. And we had this horrible old trailer, about like the kind that you like hitch onto another truck, you know?
Yeah, sure.
They're like, we're going to help you run away, but you're going to need things because we want you to survive. So we're going to take everything out of the pantry and we're going to stick it in the trailer. And we need you to put your roller skates on. I was like, fuck, they're not going to let me go. We had this long dirt driveway, you know? So no way for me to get away, you know? And they were like, get your roller skates on. And they started putting like all the tuna fish and all the Campbell's soup and shit and all of that in the fucking trailer. And they were like, okay, I need you to go get all the bungee cords. And they were going to bungee cord me to the fucking trailer. And they're like,
To make sure you didn't run away.
to go like, okay, now you have everything you need. Go, be free.
Like you're going to carry the trailer?
Like, yeah, I was going to like,
Like a rickshaw carrying a giant family
yes,
trailer.
like, time for you to go. You've got everything you need. They're like,
Godspeed.
guys laughing at my ass. Yeah, like,
Wow.
go. Like the fact you guys could have like walked out and taken a train somewhere. Wow.
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 Yeah, like
Yeah.
that. I mean,
to
we
me
never
is-
threw ourselves out of trees. We weren't quite
Y'all-
that. We weren't quite that bored.
Well,
Y'all were
speak for
city
yourself.
kids.
No, I climbed a lot of trees, but I didn't throw myself.
I didn't
from them.
intentionally jump from them.
Like that's a level of
kids did. I mean,
desperation. Yeah.
When Jackass came out, especially, everybody was doing something to get hurt,
Yeah.
which is such a strange. Sorry, I get paranoid that I didn't click record on all the cameras. But,
Double round.
I'm just gonna slurp right now.
You know,
Slurp it up.
the worst. I always hate. Right, my throat gurgles so much. I never notice it any other time, and then every time I sit down for a podcast, it's like. But I think I always have a drink, and yeah, you know, bound to happen.
Me.
Bound to happen.
This is really. I feel like we've got like these invisible paparazzis right now.
Yeah, right. They've gathered and they're like, so
Just
let's-
smile and nod every once in a while, you know.
Yeah. Right, they look
Don't
like they're
throw
gonna blink
your
or
tea at
something.
them.
Yeah. Man, so no bus into the city at that time or
No.
anything like that. Like just
No.
you're out there. If you wanted to go to the city, once you had a car, then the world opened up.
Yeah, well, we had one car,
Uh-huh.
and it was a 76 K5 Blazer that we called the Beast.
Sick.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, when you turn it on, it would just be like. My sisters had it before I did, so they did a number. I'm trying not to cuss a lot.
You could cuss all you want.
Okay, they did a fucking number on
Mm-hmm.
it. My middle sister melted the engine block.
Oh.
Yeah, she melted the engine block on it. So I got a brand new engine. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
Yeah, thanks.
How do you do that? Melt it.
You leave it on and you don't check the oil. Yeah, you just don't check the oil ever.
I did that to my first car. I don't know who was supposed to tell me and didn't tell me, but I didn't realize you're supposed to change oil like all the time. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, you mean like the gas? You know, like yeah, put gas in it. I don't know. So it got to a point where like it just wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then I just kept adding oil to it. I never got an oil change.
yeah, man,
I'd be
yeah.
like, oh, I'm out of oil, and I would just pour oil into it. And I also didn't realize there's like a place to really pour oil in.
Yeah.
So I always thought like where there's like the little dipstick.
oh, shit.
I thought that's where you pour the oil in.
So were you just like putting it all over the
I was
fucking
making
place?
I would make these funnels
Oh,
with like
yeah.
magazines because they'd have to go so tight, and I'd be like on the side of the road. Anyway,
You've come a long way.
bad car
You've
owner.
come a
Now I choose
long
oil
way.
frequently.
Nice.
Some
Gotta
things
learn.
are better left to the professionals, you know?
I'm just someone who needs to learn from the mistake. You know, I got to make the mistake to learn the lesson usually.
Yeah, I like how you calling it like the mistake. Like it's
mistake.
like the singular.
Yeah.
Only one, Sarah.
I make that one
Only
mistake and then
Well,
I'm good.
there's like one mistake, and he's been continuously making it the whole time. Like,
Yeah. I'm learning from the mistake.
yeah, I just need to learn from that mistake that I keep making. Yeah,
Yeah. Someday I'm going to figure it out.
it's when I woke up.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah, me too, man. I need to learn from the mistake called life. I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's like, I feel like that's a hard probably thing about being a parent, but it's so important. Like you have to let your kid just you gotta just watch them like make mistakes.
I'm going to go with that. As a non-parent.
Same,
Here,
non-parent.
to all parents, we figured it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys.
That's all
hey,
you do. Just let them fuck up.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
We're here to give advice to all parents, the non-parents.
Yeah.
This is your favorite thing.
Learn from the mistake.
You're gonna love this.
You're welcome. That's free. That's free advice.
Yeah, your favorite. Yeah, so, oh shit.
So no kids. You are married though. Remind me, you've been with your husband a long
Yeah,
time.
so my 3.5 years. First marriage,
Nice.
last marriage, hopefully.
We like to joke though. Sometimes if you really want to see someone's face change and be uncomfortable, you can say, "This is my current husband, Paul." And
This is my first wife,
yeah,
Christine.
First wife, current, like
Current
it
wife.
makes people uncomfortable pretty quick.
First one. Yeah, well, I could think you could probably figure out what kind of company you're in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like, okay.
Yeah.
We're not in a humor group.
I
We're a
know,
very
right?
serious group, I guess.
Oh,
But not here. Not us three.
No.
We're
Not
butthole
tonight.
bonded and everything.
We are butthole bonded, and
Yeah.
for all of you that don't understand that, you won't. Just leave you
Because you're not
guessing.
butthole bonded.
We're not going to back it up and go down that hole again.
But
We'll
yeah,
just
we're butthole bonded. We're giving
I'm gonna
parenting
go down
advice.
that butthole again. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Once
Let's
it comes
just
out,
say-
it doesn't go back in.
Yes,
It's a horror show. Yeah.
So yeah, how did you meet your husband?
Oh, I met my husband in an anonymous group.
Okay.
What does that even mean? I don't know. International lady of intrigue and mystery over here. What does that mean?
That's right.
You can't say anything else about it, can you?
No, I can't. The first rule of anonymous groups is yeah.
Okay.
No, let's just say I am sober. I've been sober for 13 years because I was a fucking wreck. Yeah, I probably
for
done
you.
all of the drinking for you and probably all of you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, but you can still do it. I mean, I'm just like, let's not have me do it unless you want to see some real butthole bonding. Like, really crazy. And yeah, I met him and it was really good. He's another artist like
Cool.
I am. And I flirted with him. So let me just go back. So he was teaching, he was a professor and he was leading an open studio sort of like thing for people to come in and do drawing for nude models, like so we could come in, it was free and all of this stuff, and he gave people his email address, and so I was emailing him and I was like, okay, you know, what if I bring my typewriter and I will bring my crocheted vagina to sit in. So I was talking to you guys, so back up story for you guys. So in the 90s in art school, there was like crocheted vaginas everywhere from the fiber departments, and everybody was doing like all of these pieces with typewriters, manual typewriters and shit. And I knew that he was like an old school artist too, so he would think it was funny, and he did. And I was like very intriguing to him. And he thought, I need to get
Because
to know
you were
this
kind
lady.
of mocking what you were saying.
100%. Yeah.
You were doing
I
it
was like,
satirically
I will
and he
come in.
appreciated
What
that.
if I come in and I jump out of a crocheted vagina and begin to type? And he thought that was hysterically funny. And he was
Yeah.
like, let's go on a date. Yeah.
Got you. So had he not understood what you even meant or that you were saying a joke, it's like, okay, we're not on the same page.
Yeah. But that's just
So you,
kind of how I am. Yeah.
I see.
I
And I
used to
like
live-
that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been kind of like, I used to make guys like wear fake mustaches when they'd go on first dates with me, or like climb a tree, or I'm just weird.
And fall out of it. No.
Yeah. Well, if they fell out, like, it'd be like,
Count my
out,
bruises now.
out, you know, like
New meaning
count my
for
bruises.
he fell for me.
Now see how many you get. Yeah. Oh, very good.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, because it's just like if you can't have fun or you can't be childlike, like what the fuck
good
are we
is it?
doing here?
Yeah.
Nice. So
You
that was
know?
like a really nice way to kind of quickly see if you guys are going to be compatible at
Yeah,
all.
if he can hang, because like I've been on plenty of dates with people where they were just like, you are too weird for me, and I don't want to go through that. Like, I don't want to be around people that are like, I don't like the way that you're weird. I'm like, well, I like the way I'm weird. So bye.
Were you like that as a kid as well? Like kind of embracing the weird? Because kids, there's so much pressure to sort of conform as a kid, to just be in with the
that was
group.
actually my nickname was Weirdo.
Nice.
Given to me. Yeah, my best friend was Crazy and Weirdo.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. I was
awesome.
jealous of her. I wanted to be crazy, but I ended up with a weirdo.
She's like, I want to be weirdo. You're like, let's switch. Well, yeah, that's
Brand.
cool.
That's cool. My sister had a really wild friend. We still to this day refer to her as Crazy Kate because she was just wild. She's a free spirit. She still is. She's like studying ayahuasca and like all sorts of medicines from healers around the world. She sold her company up. She's just crazy girl.
Crazy Kate.
You know what's funny? Her dad and stepmom live here in Tucson, and I just feel like, I don't know, as being such a small, dusty desert town, Tucson still has this like weird reach that seems really far and wide, and you're like, I don't know, it's just odd. It's like, you know, you're like, oh, you're here, you're like this German person, or like people from all over the world are just popping here and have some connection here. It's just weird.
Well, how did you guys end up here? Like, why did you decide Tucson?
So I came here for college and I loved it. My mom lived in Arizona at the time I was applying for school, so I knew I could like use her address and get in-state residency, which I did. Yeah. So that was kind of the main thing. But I toured, you know, I knew Flagstaff, I knew Tempe, and then I came here for the first time and I was like, oh yeah, this is the spot.
You looked at schools there in Flagstaff and Tempe?
Well, I grew up going to Flagstaff,
that's
and you know, I didn't like look that hard for other schools, honestly. The U of A was the only college I completed an application for, so it's pretty great they let me in. I came here, loved it, stayed a little after college, left, came back, then left again in the pandemic to go to LA to be with him, and then came back now for a third time.
Right.
And now we're here to stay.
And you
It would
came
seem.
back because she's in love with Tucson and wanted to come back, or
Honestly, Paul kind of led the charge to get us back here.
really?
Yeah, when we started dating, she lived here and I was in LA.
And I wasn't really ready to leave. I had just moved back to Tucson about a year and some change earlier.
Yeah.
So I was like pretty...
From where?
I was in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, you know, sad to leave it behind. It didn't feel fully finished at that point. So
When you were kind of getting your footing as an adult too, you were renting a house, you had a job, like you were like,
I was stoked about the job and like really liked that. I was doing markets for the Mercado district still, but a lot more. I was just like on a salary and I was full time and I was doing a ton of stuff for them and it was really cool. But it was also a lot. It was intense. So yeah.
But yeah, the first year we were dating, I was in LA, Christine was here, so I'd come here a lot, she'd go there a lot.
Yeah.
I liked it. I always liked coming to Tucson. And then about almost exactly a year ago, we were like, be cool to buy a house, be cool to like, you know.
Make some roots.
Yeah, make some roots. Like
have a
LA just didn't
community.
feel like that was going to happen there.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have that much. We had a lot of friends in LA, but not like a
It's
community,
weird. You
like
see
they'd
people
say.
so sporadically. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Paul's just like was already working remotely, and then his boss even moved out of state, so it felt like, you know, more than ever we were free to do what we wanted. You know.
And your boss, you mean Steve-O?
Steve-O, yeah.
So Steve-O moved out of state and you were like, well, why the hell am I here?
Yeah, I mean, he moved to Tennessee. And,
I mean, not why the hell are we here? We love California.
We like
you know?
LA.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
nice, but we're like, what's next? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we were renting a house in Glendale, and you know, wasn't our forever thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just felt like some change and some like peace and quiet would be nice. You know, like
Yeah.
even just the noise floor of a big city.
Yeah.
Like you don't even notice the sounds you're always hearing, and then when you come somewhere like this, I think it's good for the
It is.
spirit.
It is good for the soul. I'm becoming like a birder. I'm tracking my birds. I've got the Merlin app. I'm doing all the things. I love it.
So we're here and we love Tucson. But yeah, I was the one like, let's fucking go to Tucson.
That's awesome.
But, I had just moved and had to find new jobs and whatever. So, it was a little, and I would have to do it again where Paul had the thread of consistency. So, and I'm like, stressed easily by change. No, I mean, I'm good at change, but.
Oh, you
I'm
are
good at
reluctantly
change.
good at change.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Like she can handle it, but it's not
Not
gonna sign up for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really cool now that you have like your own business and you're doing that. And how nice to have somebody that has a stable, steady Eddie business.
Yeah.
That's really great.
It was really lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things worked out.
And
I was really lucky. I was able to my job didn't really skip a beat. It was perfect.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I don't know, frankly, how it comes together most of the time for people. It's just kind of crazy to buy houses these days and moving. It's a whole ordeal to pack everything up.
Well, the storyline is that people can't buy houses anymore, right?
know.
And I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I mean, I'm in no shape. Eric and I are in no place to be able to buy a house, but I just don't buy into that people can't buy a house. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just think that there's got to be a
you
way.
wish it wasn't the reality for
Well,
people?
I think there's
or-
got to be a way.
So you just kind of refuse to believe this like limiting. No, I mean I
Yeah,
agree.
I
I like it. It's
I
a
kind of
limiting
do.
belief. Like, oh, nobody can buy a house anymore. Like the
Yeah.
person with that attitude will never buy a house. But
Yeah,
if you're
I
like,
can't.
fuck that shit. I can buy a house.
Yeah.
And I will buy a house.
Yeah.
I like this. I
Yeah.
like
I mean,
that.
there's deals, right? First time home buyers get really good deals. Like, there's incentives and programs out there.
There
but,
absolutely are, yeah.
there's also a lot of companies buying up houses left
Yes.
and right. And so the
Yes.
dynamics of real estate are
Difficult.
a lot different than.
They're very difficult.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is really weird. It is really weird having people do that. I know Eric, when we got together, he had a house and he had to sell his house. And his house was really, he had to sell his house to somebody that was going to buy like any kind of house. And it was really good that there were people out there that would just buy a house that was in any shape, So we're really grateful for that at the time. But looking at it now, it's like, well, it would have also been really nice if somebody who wanted to just buy a house to fix up and it was like a private owner could have done that as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a conundrum.
It is, but I mean, it's not for everybody too. It's there's a
really
lot of perks to being able to call a landlord when you have a problem.
Oh,
Yeah, they
Especially
say
if
it's
you have a
smarter
good one.
to rent where you live.
And
we have
honest-
a great landlord.
That's so
Yeah.
nice.
Oh,
It
that's
makes all the
amazing.
difference.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. I mean, if you get stuck with somebody shitty, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
I know I always had sweet landlords in college, like out there doing the gardening. I'm like, you're so sweet. You come to the house to landscape, like just kind people.
Yeah.
Our landlord is like, we were rent controlled
Oh
for like
shit, yeah.
years.
There you go.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and they're so kind. And they gave us a dog.
They gave you a dog.
They gave us a puppy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I never thought that we would ever get a puppy, but they adopted a dog that was pregnant and they were like, do you want a dog? The next thing I know, we had like this. So our landlord and his husband are like super sweet. And the guy, like the one of the two that showed up at our house with the puppy, he's like this older Vietnam vet. And he showed up at our house with this tiny little puppy crying. And he was like, do you mind if I come inside and sit down for just a second? It's like, sure. And he came, sat down and cried on our couch holding a little puppy. And I was like, you're such a tough Vietnam vet. And he just laughed and gave us our puppy. And he was like, you're so kind.
Oh wow.
But we can be late on the rent all of the time. And he's like, don't worry about it, honey. You just do the best you can.
That's a dream.
I know.
I think you have a better situation than owning a home.
I think so. And
Honestly.
like, they're just so sweet to us and always asking us how we're doing, if we're having troubles. Like, I got into a car accident. I got hit by a mortuary van.
Oh my God.
There were 2 dead bodies in the van.
Oh my God.
God.
Are there any witnesses? No. Nothing.
Yes. Yes, there were.
That would have been a weird headline. Like if the crash was worse, is like terrible crash, like 3 dead, 2 still dead. It's like
It was so
that is so bizarre.
Wow.
It was so awful, guys.
It was so awful.
You got what, like T-boned or?
I got T-boned
Oh my God.
by a mortuary van that had 2 dead bodies in the back. Yeah.
You're like, is everybody okay? They're like, well, you know, I mean.
I know, it was so bad.
Nothing to worry about.
2 of my neighbors saw the whole thing. They had to take me out with the jaws of life.
No way.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
Oh my
And
God.
initially I thought that they were Mormons that hit me because they came running out. There were 2 really, really young guys in suits with ties. And they were like, ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay? And then they like bashed in my window and one of them had a fucking knife and he was trying to like, because my airbag's deployed, he was trying to like stab away, like, it was like,
Pop it?
So he's, yeah, but with his fucking knife, like towards my face. And I was like, you need to get away from me.
Yeah, like, is this a hit job or
Yeah,
something? You guys
like-
assassins? Like, oh, shit, we didn't get away
And
with the
I'm
car
just
crash
like,
to finish the job with the knife.
You know, like a broken rib and like all of this shit. And I was like, you need to get away from me. And he's like, ma'am, don't worry. We're going to get you out of there. And meanwhile, like I have like one neighbor that's kind of creepy ass, but he's like older, but he's creepy because he looks like somebody from like The Birds, you know, like that, like the birds. And
He
they-
hasn't seen it, but we're
I
gonna fix
have
that
seen
soon.
it.
Oh,
JC
JC
hasn't seen it. We
Okay.
talked about the birds in the last
Seriously,
episode.
you really?
Yeah, we really did.
Oh, that is so weird. Okay. So yeah. And then another neighbor that's like really sweet, but he also was just like almost crying because he was so scared. These older like men. And my husband was watching the whole thing and he said, yeah, they pulled 2 bodies out of one van and put them in another van. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's really creepy. And for a year after that accident, the one creepy neighbor, he was like, we share a wall with him. Every like time he saw me, he'd like pop over the wall like this and he'd go, you should be dead.
Oh my
Like that. He'd go, and he'd smile and he'd go, I don't know how you lived through that. You should be dead.
Oh,
Wow, it's like Wilson, but like
Yeah.
from hell.
oh
And
no.
I'd be like, that's totally unnecessary, sir. And then the other neighbor down the street, he'd like for a couple months he'd see me and he'd get all teary eyed and he'd go, I don't know how you're walking. I don't know how you lived through that. Oh my God, I don't know how you're walking. And I'd be like, I don't need this shit from either of you.
Yeah, let me comfort you after
Yeah.
my horrendous accident.
Well, and I actually had to go through electroshock therapy because my depression was so bad.
Oh, from like the head trauma, the brain trauma.
Well, and I already have like post-traumatic stress disorder from shit that we won't talk about, but like it just made everything worse. So
my
like
God.
I literally would like be going on my way to electroshock therapy and like the guy would pop up and he'd go like, you should be dead.
How about like, I'm glad you're alive? You know,
Yeah.
like, you should be dead is kind of a weird sentence
For
to
sure.
throw
And my
around.
husband would be like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know.
Wow.
How long ago was this?
2 years ago.
Oh my God. You move around incredibly. So you're
Thank you, sir.
you're pulling out of your driveway and you got hit?
So I was like literally like half a block away from my house. And I was just like, I'm listening to my tunes and I'm going and just a whammo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so they hit the driver's side?
They hit the driver's side.
Yeah,
And
so scary.
You said broken rib,
Broken rib.
hit your head, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And, like,
and
whiplash
just like,
and-
yeah. And just like
Whiplash?
a lot of just like
Whip.
Whiplash. Yeah.
whip it.
Right. You can whip it.
Yeah. Come on, Diva.
Crack that whip.
Where's the hats? Where's the hats?
yeah. We have Devo hats. They're on the way, actually.
Perfect.
We ordered them.
Nice.
Wow. That's incredible.
It was
You
crazy.
were hospitalized?
I went to the hospital,
Yeah.
but just briefly before they sent me back home because you can't really do anything for a broken rib except
Sure.
just like
Just
get a
gotta wait.
squashmallow or squishmallow or whatever the hell they call it.
What is that?
Bitch about it. It's one of those weird pillows that's got like a freaky face on it, like a cat or an indescriptive animal that looks like. yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Give me pain medication. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You don't have to set your ribs though. They just like fuse back
No.
together.
Yeah.
Wow. Even if
Yeah,
they're
if
like
they just
really.
crack, if they fully break, I was in a really bad accident.
No shit. What happened?
8 years ago now. I fell off of a 4-story roof.
Oh, fuck.
And I broke my ribs, and they were like they were like kind of like this.
Oh no, Paul.
But they told me that it went back on its own, like after a few
so
days.
wild.
So I don't know what they would have done.
It
if
hurts
not.
so bad, doesn't it?
The broken ribs?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I broke
How
my
can
leg,
you
I
say
broke my
just like-
arm, I broke a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I
But
was also
ribs
like heavily medicated because I did stay in the hospital for like 3 weeks
I
because
bet.
I had broken leg and all this stuff.
Oh my God.
But it's I mean, what was your kind of takeaway, philosophically of like, you almost just died? Was there a appreciation of life or any kind of, I mean, you said you went through a depressive state, which I'm sure was very difficult. But now looking back on it, how do you feel about it?
I mean, to be frank with you, I've been through so many near-death bullshit situations that I'm not. I just kind of think that like death isn't that big of a deal in general. I never have. So I just more thought like that was fucking weird. Like it was like a cosmic joke to be hit by a mortuary van with 2 bodies in the back. Like,
Yeah.
better luck next time. Like I don't
Wow.
like how I felt
do
about
better
it.
than that.
Yeah, like thanks, but you're gonna have to send somebody with more chops. I don't know.
Like, is that all you got?
Yeah, kind of like maybe 4 guys next time. Like I don't know.
It's great. I mean, that attitude probably was really helpful.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
What else are you gonna
man?
do?
Like,
Yeah.
what was your attitude? Have you had a horrible accident? Like,
No,
ew.
nothing
Okay,
like
good.
that.
Yeah.
No, I
Rock
kept
on
a
this one.
very positive spirit the whole time. I think it did help me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very cared for. Like, I
Isn't
didn't
that
have to
nice?
lift a finger. I was, surgeries, and my mom was there the whole time, and like so I had the luxury of just kind of.
Were you like immobilized?
Yeah, I was actually in Peru. Wow. We were filming a TV show there, and this was like the wrap party.
Okay.
And I like wandered up to the roof of this 4-story building. Don't remember any of this. And
You
I just,
smashed?
yeah.
Okay.
He was trying
um,
to keep up. Oh, never mind.
And I fell.
With somebody
Oh,
that you work for?
I mean, everyone was. Nobody forced.
There's no need to say that. I don't need to say that.
Nobody forced me to do anything. I'm responsible for myself.
Yeah.
I wandered away from the group, went up to the roof of the building that we were at, and just fell off of it. I woke up on the ground, and nobody knew that even happened. They just thought I Irish goodbyed the party.
Oh, shit.
So it
yeah.
wasn't until the next morning, my best friend JC, who was the last episode where we talked about the birds, but he woke up and was like, "Fuck, Paul never came back to the hotel room last night." And then he was like, "Has anyone seen Paul?" And then they're like, "Oh, fuck, no." And so then it was like search party, and they found me on the ground. But anyway, I was very well cared for, but I did have like I don't know. I had a really good attitude the whole time. Like doctors would tell me like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this again or do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. There was just all these kind of limiting things they were trying to put on me.
Yeah.
And I would just like, I was like,
Yeah.
you're wrong. I don't know.
But I feel like you still have stress and like some guilt about what you put people through.
Yeah, there is some, yeah, I do. I do feel a little guilty about what I put everyone else through. But for me personally,
Yeah.
it was okay. And actually, like, it gave me a great perspective, like almost dying. In some way, I wish everyone could get that experience of like almost dying and then not. Mm-hmm. And then you get to kind of, I don't know, you just get a weird, at least I got this kind of profound appreciation for my days,
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, well, like, did you have like a spiritual base before any of that?
Spiritual base. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my spiritual base is always changing and evolving, I grew up Christian, but I haven't really believed in like much of Christianity for a long time.
Yeah.
But just a general positivity and like life is beautiful and like you take what you
get,
take things as they come.
Yeah.
I already had that sort of an attitude, I guess.
For real.
But I don't know. I don't know about a spiritual base,
It's
actually.
very yellow.
Yellow.
What
Very
is
yellow.
that? What does that
Yellow is a
mean?
word.
What do you think yellow? What do you think of when you think of yellow?
Honestly, like I think of a color study that was done some years ago where they thought that painting prisons yellow would make prisoners happy, but it actually made them aggressive.
Well, maybe I need to do more research, but yeah, I mean the happy part of it. I perceive it as a happy thing.
Yeah.
The good intentions of whoever painted that prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do
exactly.
you mean?
Like,
So you mean happy?
I just mean bright and like, yeah, it's sort of high vibes, you know, sunny,
yeah.
warm, and just, I don't know. Yeah, studying that. I feel like you've got a pretty optimistic viewpoint.
Nice.
Yeah, I've always been very optimistic.
Nice.
Like if it's something bad, I was sitting there being like, this will end up being the best thing that ever happened to me. I know that for sure.
Yes.
That was
like
my
what can
attitude.
this teach me?
Yeah, and like this is a great story. Even when I'm laying on the ground, being like, I hope they find me, because I fell into like a construction site, so you couldn't like see me from the road.
Yeah.
The only way they saw me is someone who eventually went on that roof and looked down and saw me down there. But the whole time I'm laying there, I'm like, this will be a great story. I know they'll find me. I don't know. I wasn't really that worried.
That's probably really good.
Yeah. I think that's partly was like a survival strategy, maybe for my
Yeah, man.
psyche. Yeah, to just not panic and freak out and just be like, this is fine, you know. This is fine. I'm fine.
Did you know him when this all happened?
I did, yeah. I've known
grew up
Paul.
together.
Yeah,
You guys grew up. That's
we met in
sweet.
3rd grade.
Shut the hell up.
We haven't dated since 3rd grade, but
No, we didn't. But yeah, when the accident happened, his mom made a Facebook group called Paul's an Idiot, and she updated it regularly with, you know, pictures and surgery updates and all that stuff. So I was, you know, definitely following along and just like kind of, you know, our friends would be like talking about it or checking in on him, whatever. But I was living far away at that time. Well, Indy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I didn't visit you in the hospital or anything.
no, that's okay. I was in the hospital in Peru for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway.
kind of wild. Yeah, no, I've never had anything so near death like that.
But
That's
I
good.
feel like you probably have. It just wasn't so apparent, you know, like those little moments where like you
That's even spookier.
almost step off into the street, but then you're like,
Right?
oh, a car goes like this. You're like, oh,
Right.
like how close was I? Or like when you're driving, you're like, yep, and you just like barely miss somebody or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those moments, I think, happen all the time.
Yeah. You drove in LA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I know. 30 minutes to and from work every day. Like I thought about that a lot driving
Yeah.
to work. I was like, how weird in this little economic system that we have that I literally have to risk my life to go earn a living. And it was, I thought about that very often actually on the roads. Yeah. I was getting pretty bad road rage living there. I had to leave. I would come home and be like, I just fantasize sometimes when cars do something really stupid. I just fantasize about driving right into them to like make them realize their mistake.
And you're pretty well adjusted. Imagine people who are actual like sociopaths.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a lot of sociopaths among
Yeah.
us. Like imagine a sociopath out there feeling like, you
Sure.
know what? Fuck you. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in a car and like another car kind of threatens you, it's like it's a fight or flight response.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
your
Just
whole life
surge of
is threatened.
adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a lot. Yeah. Never.
yeah.
That was rough. But yeah, since being here, it's a lot more pleasant driving out here.
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although
there's
will
still
say,
a lot of dicks on the
My
road.
God, the aggression sometimes is insane.
There are some wild drivers out here. I think the drivers themselves are wilder, but things felt more intense on the freeways out there because
We
it was
don't
just
have,
like
6 lanes.
exactly
going on,
at
you
all
know?
times,
Yeah.
you know.
And someone's like, or you know, me is like trying to cut, you know, like, oh, that's my exit, and I got to cut over like 8 lanes to hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. There's a lot of like angsty drivers in Tucson.
Yes. Yeah. And I've noticed too, I really think that video games are affecting the way that people drive, because I've noticed people will like do this thing where to make a right hand turn, they'll come out this way and go like that, like as if they're in a video game and their controller needs to go like this for their video card to make it right hand turn. I'm like, dude, this is real life. Your car will maneuver, you know? Like, I can tell you've been spending way too much time in front of your television.
Yeah. The lines can get blurred.
Oh my God.
I had a time I was playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto, like every night.
And then you're driving like a lunatic.
And yeah, when I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, I'm a psycho, of course, I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. So I would just like, you're driving, you're just like, oh, people, like, just like mowing people down.
Yes.
And then I had a moment, I was driving to high school, and I saw a bunch of people. I had to remind myself, like, this is real. Like, don't, you know, like, I didn't, you know, I didn't even turn a little bit, but my brain was like, oh, and then it was like, no. So yeah, you got the line can get blurred quickly.
Careful.
Absolutely.
After your accident, was it scary to get back in a car?
Yeah, for sure. And it's taken me some time, particularly at that intersection, to not just freak out, particularly because there are some people that still blow through that intersection. I feel like an 80-year-old man. Like, I'll just be like, ah! Like, I want to go follow them and lecture them or scream at them and be like, you need to understand, you know? Like, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. But, you know, what are you going to do? I kind of embrace this, like, pissy, grumpy little old man. Just being like, this is my age now. Like, yeah, I have, like, a lot less fucks to give. Like, this is me.
Good for you.
That's great.
And
do you think that's the less fucks to give, that is something that just, like, happened, kind of snuck up on you, or you've been working to get to that place?
I think it's a both. You know,
the nickname Weirdo, that's someone who didn't have a lot of fucks to give.
I think she definitely did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
she just like would get really
It's almost like if I call
like,
it this, then it won't hurt when you call me this kind of thing, like owning it in that way, or
yeah, was Weirdo
I mean,
like
other people gave me that nickname.
Okay, so it's sort of like a derogatory term that you kind of came to own.
Yeah, well, I couldn't shake it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, after talking to my sisters, and particularly like my middle sister and her wife about like perimenopause and menopause, I'm like, okay, like now I'm in that section of my life. I have a lot less fucks to give. I think that just chemically I've gotten there. You know, I think at this point in my life, I don't have a lot of fucks to give because just like hormonally, I've kind of gotten there. And I'm really grateful for that. Like, I wish I had gotten there hormonally in my 20s.
So wild that men are just out here in this little stable one mode, and women are just like, woohoo, let me just change all the time.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Left and right. It's just like nonstop.
Yeah.
Do you know it takes like almost 2 full years for a woman's hormones to turn, like, get back to what they were before or after having a baby? So for 2, like, pregnancy, baby, 2 years, like, that's so long for women's hormones to just be like, beep, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, but my balls get stuck to my legs sometimes.
Yeah, well, sometimes my thighs stick to each other.
Don't be acting like it's just hard for women, okay? Sometimes my balls get stuck to my leg, and I have to peel them off, and it's, you know,
well, you don't wear
uncomfortable for like 2
shorts.
seconds.
Do you know how hard it is to get off of chairs when your little sticky butts on it?
No, I'm joking. It is crazy. I mean, yeah. Women are incredible.
It's wild.
It's wild. And
I hope that for everybody, though. I hope that's like, because I've always heard that, and I never knew, you know.
Well, where are you in the...
I could give less fucks.
Yeah. Well, are you like in your 30s? Where are you at?
35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is. It's great. It
gets better. It's like the, you know, there's like, don't worry, it gets better.
Yeah, I love life. I've always loved life, but I've always been high strung about certain things, and you know.
Yeah, I promise you'll give less fucks.
Cool.
Yeah, I give less fucks, and then I give a lot of fucks about it. Like, I turn into a rage machine about some things where I was like, oh, I better be quiet about this or they're gonna call me a bitch. And like, no. But I think it's part of being like a Gen Xer. Like,
tell me about these buttons. What are the rage points?
Oh God,
Here,
like,
because I have a lot of pet peeves myself. So let's get into this.
Oh God, I think at the beginning of it was like when young men would tell me I didn't have to be such a bitch.
Oh, well, yeah, that'll do it.
That'd do it. Yeah. Of course, I was raised by Southerners, so I was told like you need to be like kind and gentle and say, you know, bless your heart instead of go fuck yourself. And like now I just kind of go around that and just straight to go fuck yourself.
Unlearned that.
I respect that.
Yeah.
More direct,
Yeah.
you know?
More direct. Yeah. And they don't understand the bless your heart, you know, because you don't mean it anyway. You
Yeah.
mean go fuck yourself.
Right.
Yeah, like I've never said those words to another human. Certainly thought them.
You've never said go fuck yourself?
I don't
Oh,
think
it's
so.
great.
Oh, you have thought them, you're saying. You just never said them?
Yeah, I've never
I
really
feel
like
you've
told
told me to go fuck myself, maybe.
No, I haven't.
I'm just kidding.
I have not.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean,
Give-
it's... Yeah, I don't
It's
know if
not
I
really
have
like in my
either, honestly.
repertoire, but I like it because I was also kind of raised on the kill 'em with kindness
Yeah,
mentality, right?
And you
It's
know
like,
what? It's
especially as a woman, you're just like, but yeah, I could see the Southern
And it's
parents
bullshit.
too. Yeah, it's not the most direct or assertive.
To be a lady is like we're told to be that way, and it's bullshit because
Yeah.
we're told that if we don't do that, then we're being a bitch and we're being too assertive, and then we're just a dyke, right? Because then we're giving these different designations of what kind of woman we are, or then we are told that we're not a woman or whatever the hell. Like, who gives a fuck about my gender at that point? Like, I stop trying to dehumanize me or like strip parts of me away or whatever. Like, at this point in my life, I'm just like, this is saying more about you than it's saying about me. And the more that I consider that, like if people were to come back at me and say these sorts of things, it makes me want to tell them to go fuck themselves even more. You know?
Yeah.
Like I just, yeah.
Yeah, men are celebrated for being like assholes, you know? Like you're about like Michael Jordan, like it's like, oh, he was such a fucking asshole. Or like Lance
Yeah.
Armstrong. I watched the 30 for 30 about Lance Armstrong. He's such an asshole. And I was like, I like this guy, you know? Like it's like, I don't know, there's something in us that we like respect it. But yeah, in women, it's bullshit. But yeah, you don't, society doesn't seem to give you that grace that you get to be impolite. Do you feel like it's changing?
No, I don't. In fact, I think that we tried to have it change, but the current climate is trying to pull back and reverse hard.
Sure.
Right? Like taking away no fault divorce and just like literally coming for women's rights left and right.
Oh yeah, and taking away the T and LGBT. Yeah, so I'm just, and the truth of it is like I really love people. I'm like a hardcore humanitarian. I love humans. I love people. And that's why I'll fight for people as hard as I can, Like everybody's right to be exactly who they are. And that starts with me. I have to have the right to be myself. If I can't be myself, then, and you can't be yourself, then what the hell are we talking about?
That's beautiful.
You know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. You definitely have a warm, big energy about you. So
Thanks.
way to
So
be
do you.
Well, thanks.
So do you.
Oh, thank you. Thank
We're
you.
butthole bonded.
Yeah, we're about to bond it for Christ's sake.
Oh my God.
So, okay, talk to me about being like an artist because that is a title that I'm still struggling to. I've gotten a little better over the years of assigning it to myself, but it's still uncomfortable, and I'm not really like paid to make art. So, what has that been like? How long have you been making your ceramics? And I know you mentioned art school, but
Yeah, so, okay, I started making art when I was an itty bitty kid, and I think most people do. And the way I think about art is like, if you give a 3-year-old a set of crayons and a piece of paper, you don't hear a 3-year-old go like, they'll like draw and go like, that's shit.
yeah.
Like, I can't do this anymore. This looks nothing like a turtle. Fuck me, I'm done. You know? Like, yeah, they're like, oh, I can't. Don't look at it, Jerome. It's ugly. They'll be like, give me another piece of paper and maybe I'm going to draw on the wall. Like, just do it. And that is what I wish everybody could just do. At some point, it's really crucial. We start to tell each other and our kids that there needs to be a standard that everybody lives up to, and that they need to draw inside the lines, and that, to be educated about art means that we need to live up to those standards or don't do it. And I just want to throw all of that out and say everybody's an artist, because we should all be creative, and creativity it extends to every part of our lives. So if you're holding yourself back from calling yourself an artist because you're trying to commodify it, fuck that.
I think that is the problem.
Yeah.
That is what I do. That's the trap.
Yeah, fuck it. Because it doesn't matter. I don't think it should matter if any one of us ever shows our art or our music or our writing or our dancing or anything to anybody else. It's nobody else's fucking business. It belongs to me. It belongs to you. It belongs to whoever is doing it. And whether or not I want to show it to somebody else is my business.
I like that.
Period.
Yeah, and it doesn't change the fact that I'm at home making art.
That's right.
That still happens. So do you do what's your discipline like? Are you like, I have to make something every day? Do you have like, we wake up and have a cup of tea and get to it? Like what's that like?
So yeah, I mean, now that I'm trying to make money off of it, it has become a lot more disciplined. And it's something that I'm doing to make money because I don't know what else to do, because I've had a lot of mental health challenges, because I've had a lot of trauma, and that's become like, I have like complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I can do. And my husband supports me like financially and emotionally, says this is where you should be. So I'm going for it. I've spent like 30 years making art, and I went to art school for like 2 years, and what was going on at home, which was craziness, was like bombarding me while I was at art school. So I like dropped out because I couldn't stay, and I ended up just finding my own mentors.
Cool.
And that's what happened. Like I found mentors and apprenticeships that paid me old school. Like I went and worked for other artists, and they taught me while they paid me.
It's great.
And, right?
Way better than paying a shit ton of money for an education.
It was, well, I felt really lucky,
Yeah.
Because I was able to learn business practices, and I was able to like watch people in real life do what it is that they were doing. And I got to work for some really amazing people. I got to work for this guy in England who went to art school during the Blitz in London.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He told me that he learned lithography so he would walk over the rubble in London to get to art school, and then he would make lithographs of propaganda posters for the war.
Wow.
I know.
To like print them or as artifact. Okay, wow.
Yeah, to print them and put up around London for
Sure.
World War II.
Yeah.
And then, I would be wedging his clay and making his tiles for him so he could paint on them, and he would be dancing around to ABBA's Dancing Queen and drinking wine. I just like had this great experience, just being like around essentially what I felt like were living legends of like these aging artists that they weren't going to exist forever, and I got to just be around it and learn these very old techniques and these old thought processes around crafts that were just not being taught in school.
That's so cool.
Wow.
It was I feel really blessed.
Was that in England or that was here?
Mm-hmm, that was in England.
Wow. So how long were you over there?
I was over there for a little less than a year. I was engaged to be married at the time. The guy that I was with, he was finishing his master's in theater lighting and design. He was studying there in Chester College under the guy. Did you guys ever see Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. So
The car flies.
the car flies, yeah. So the little boy in that
Okay.
grew up and turned into my ex's boss.
Wow.
There, and he looked exactly the same. He looked exactly the same, and he was best friends with the little girl who looked exactly the same. They had the same haircuts and everything. So
And what was that little boy doing at the time?
he was a very sad.
Why does that make
I mean,
me laugh?
he's like a child
Depressed
star, kind of
Yeah,
naked
yeah,
as a doll.
Oh,
depressed theater manager at the Chichester College.
Okay.
Poor guy. What is he? He's stuck in the standards and the shoulds, it sounds like.
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure put on a kid. If you're successful
pressure.
at age 6, people are like, "Oh, you're going to be the next, Dick Van Dyke," and you're watching, and then you're like, that's probably the most pressure
I know.
at such a young age.
It was weird because in the theater we would walk in the theater and there was like a picture of the little girl. I swear to you, if you looked up, you should look up Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because they were in like a bunch of movies. It was like Disney movies from back then.
Recognize them.
You would totally recognize both of them.
Were they in Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Too? There were probably kids in Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the little girl in the Mary Poppins was also the little girl in Chitty Chitty. She was like the little blonde girl and they had the same like coif. And so they had a picture of her in the theater and she had the exact same haircut. But like it's an old lady with like the blonde hair. It was just kind of like,
she's like stunted.
it was weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like a Wes
Yeah,
Anderson
seriously.
film or something like, but
Right.
this is so
Standing
weird.
next to her picture, like, that's me. That is just exactly the same.
It's very weird.
Wow.
But yeah, so I was there and I got to like study under this man, Eric James Malone. He was great. And then I studied under a woman named Kitty Shepard at Amberley Industrial Museum, which is like an old chalk museum. And she's really taken off since then. She's like doing really well, has shows in London and things.
A chalk museum.
Yeah.
Chalk
Like chalk.
like a chalkboard. Chalk.
Yeah.
Chalk art museum or
No, it
people
was like
making chalk?
like a chalk mine, and they had like an industrial museum. So they would show like how they
Isn't
used
that
to make
made-
roads.
Isn't
things
that
like
made out of like weird or the stuff from the ocean and all the chalk? What is it?
What is chalk?
Yeah, what is chalk?
Chalk is chalk.
Is it so like you can
It
dig a
is
hole and be
chalk.
like, oh, it's like you can find clay or you can find chalk.
Chalk is chalk.
Chalk is
Oh, I
chalk.
always thought it
Chalk.
was like a coral or something
is
from
chalk.
the ocean.
I think it's a kind of sodium, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a
But I
mineral.
don't know. I'm not going to make shit up, but I really, really want to, if I'm being honest with you.
You can tell us
We're not gonna
anything
fact
and we'd
check
be-
yet.
Yeah.
Chalk. It's made from the saliva dried out from old sperm whales.
Oh, that's
That's where they would go for their breeding grounds, and they would salivate quite a bit.
You know what's weird
You
is
have,
like
to, you have to
those
scoop it out of the
kids-
ocean.
Well, they would
and then
just
dry it.
Well, they dried up when it used to be the salivate, and then salivate, or just layers of sperm whale saliva.
Saliva or sperm?
That's dirty.
Do sperm whales like look like sperm or do they jizz a lot?
I think they
Jizz a lot.
No, they look like.
Do they jizz chalk? Like their jizz
Spermy.
is just like pieces of chalk. That's why they're shaped like that, I think.
It's sperm whale bones.
Humans are very creative to have found all the uses of animals that we have over the years. Like
Are we
not-
creative or are we just sick?
I think sick because I think really sick. Fun fact about Paul here.
Oh my God,
He's
what
a
a
sicko.
lead in.
There we go.
He's a sicko. In high school,
What happened?
Paul got in trouble because he found animal guts outside when we were in like outdoor education
Shit, what are we
class.
about to hear? Okay.
He wanted to bring it inside, kind of made a whole fuss of it, right? The teacher hears him talking about it, all this stuff. He puts a pen in it or like flags it so he can come back to find the animal remains.
Frozen is winter.
Because that's normal. Then brings it into our high school cafeteria
The next morning.
And microwaves it. And the microwave exploded.
No, the microwave didn't
With
explode. No,
The guts exploded. Come on, get
Yeah,
it
the
right.
guts exploded. The microwave was
The
fine.
microwave stayed put.
I went
That thing's built to last.
in. I would get to school early because I was in the jazz band.
Of course
so
you
I went to the cafeteria. I had this animal guts in like a cooler because I didn't want it to thaw out and smell. And so I just took it out of the cooler,
Not until it explodes.
threw it in the microwave, closed it, cranked the thing, and walked away. And then I guess they found it, and because
He's
I
like,
made such a
"Deuces."
thing of it, like in gym class, everyone's like, "Oh, that was probably Paul," because he was saying yesterday he found animal intestines and he wanted to bring it into the school, and so I got busted.
I wish you guys had a portion where we could just like do some sort of like remake of scenes, like
Yeah,
just be like,
animation or something,
yeah.
Or claymation would be fun. We have a friend who's
Chalkmation.
really talented with clay and stop motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my husband is an animation.
Oh, cool.
That's what he does in higher ed.
Oh, nice.
Is animation.
Okay.
But
Like cartoon animation, 3D animation. What are we talking?
Yes.
Awesome.
That's
really
that
cool.
would be really great. But actually, I was thinking it would just be more fun just to do like a really low budget, just like have him go into your kitchen and like just walk and be like, just throw some like nasty like Chef Boyardee and then just be like,
Love
and
it.
just be like, deuces.
I'm gonna play.
Most people are
Magic.
that savage with their microwaving things. Like, why every microwave just got guts everywhere? Not animal products necessarily, but
Spaghetti
just
sauce.
everything red. Everything red. We don't actually own a microwave. That's
She
how far
refuses
we've
because
come.
she's afraid I'm gonna throw an animal in there.
We can't do that.
disgusting.
It was disgusting, but I felt the microwave deserved it. You know. No, and it was funny too. Like, you know, my mom is like a principled woman. Like, she's like, you know, that was wrong, but she's also like a fighter. You know, like, and so they were like,
Where's
you guys
this
got to
going?
replace this microwave.
And she said no.
And she said, okay. And they said, like, it's a $500 microwave. She said, what was the value of the microwave the day he broke it?
Oh shit.
And they were like kind of they were like, and I never had to buy a new microwave.
She shut it down.
She shut it down.
She shut it down.
But she was upset with me, and like, I got an in-school detention and all this stuff. She would never be like, no, you're not punishing my kid. She was like, no, he fucked up. He's going to do the detention.
So
But
this
we're
is
not
why
buying a new
Paul and I
microwave.
never dated in high school. He was too busy with other things on his brain.
That's why you guys never dated in high school.
I was
right.
trying to impress her, but yeah, it didn't
Because
work.
he was blowing up
was
intestinal intestines.
I was still trying to calibrate just what this
Are you
Christine
not
girl was
impressed?
into, you know? Yeah. I wrote in my journal like animal intestines
Swing and a miss.
was not it. Yeah, cross that off the list. What was this time, you know?
Oh, well. So, husband number 2 for Christine.
Yes.
Take notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Microwaving animals, you know? How did we get on me being a psychopath? Oh yeah, the chalk, chitty chitty bang bang. You know, that's a weird. You remember that movie?
Oh, my chitty chitty bang bang.
Okay, so there's like the
Movie.
really happy,
So
like
how do I know the song if I don't know the
everybody
movie?
knows the song. Maybe you've
Well,
seen
it's
it.
such a fucking ridiculous. Maybe you've like repressed it.
Yeah,
It's just a
perhaps.
waste of fucking time. Hope you're not listening.
I don't have a lot. I don't have a good film recall either.
You know, yeah.
Well, but it's such a. It was a weird movie because like it starts like it's so happy and it's like look we found this car and it flies and like yeah.
And
But
then they
there's,
just
like, some
hold the
guy
car
who, like, kidnaps
hostage.
kids.
Yeah, and then
And-
they also hold the car hostage, I think.
Like the bad guy, the bad
Yeah.
people, the guy
Yeah.
who's like this guy like walks around the net. He's got like a creepy nose and he's
Yeah.
like I'll get the kids and he's like
Everything is horrible.
snatching up kids.
Yeah, it's one of those
very
movies
scary.
that's like, yeah, the 1970s, 1980s, everything's wrong with everybody's morals, but they make somehow a musical out of it. Like,
And it's a children's movie, you
of
know?
course,
You
yes.
scared easy though. You couldn't
I
even.
did.
What was the Babes in Toyland? Paul couldn't handle it. It was too scary.
That whole era of like 90s fantasy, like Never Ending Story,
Yes,
Dark
yeah.
Crystal, whatever. Like
You know what?
it
Okay,
irked
I
me.
have to
didn't
give
like
you
it.
Bright
the Dark
yellow
Crystal.
soul can't handle
Listen,
it.
I'm too yellow. I'm too
Too
yellow.
yellow.
I mean, yellow means like a coward.
yes,
No.
Yeah, that's what. If someone's like you're yellow, that
You're
means like
yellow,
you're a
buddy.
coward.
I don't mean it
Yeah, I
that
know.
way.
Yeah, that's
But
why
you
when
know
you're
what?
like he's yellow, I'm like, oh Jesus.
But you know what? I have to give it to him for the Dark Crystal because those Skeksis are some mean motherfuckers. And when they start drinking people's bodily fluids, I'm out. That's some nasty shit. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Because when those
go.
little people start to shrivel up like fucking raisins, it's disgusting. I think they're disgusting and I can't watch it.
I can't. It's just the whole genre. is
Don't
kinda
they do it with
creepy.
like a straw too? Like that's gross.
See, it didn't. It had no impact on me.
Skeks, well, fucking weird.
Yeah, maybe you're the psycho.
You're weird.
You would love Chitty
Look
Chitty
at her
Bang Bang.
cackling like a dark witch over there.
It didn't bother me at all. It's my favorite film. That's my favorite part.
Give me a straw. Suck it dry right now.
I love raisins.
You're the one that has to sleep with her tonight, Paul.
Yeah,
Shit.
scary. It's scary. We're both with one eye open.
I
there.
know.
You're not
Just
gonna
like,
microwave my intestines, are you?
get all the straws out of the
Yeah,
house.
yeah, exactly. So like, can I get a straw? It's like, no, she'll drink it from the cup. It's fine. We don't need straw.
Your lucky straws got canceled.
No. They're back.
They
Straws are
are.
back.
They're
No.
back.
Time.
Straws. They're
Straw-
great. They're wonderful.
We need 'em back.
Straws.
We got
They're
the best
wonderful.
straws.
We got the best straws.
Forget the
straws
turtles.
are the
They
best.
do the
The
little
best
bends.
straws.
We,
They're-
not the bad
No,
straws.
we got the best
dissolve.
straws.
We got
the best
best
straws
ones.
ever.
Only the best.
They're wonderful. You're gonna love it.
I'll kick that turtle. We'll send him back to fucking Tortoise Island. Where Where do turtles come
Did
from?
you hear the latest and greatest
Jesus
that he's
Christ.
trying to change the District of Columbia because it has nothing to do with the country Columbia? He doesn't understand the difference between
Doesn't understand the
Columbus,
reference to
the
Columbus?
reference to Columbus, and the place Columbia. This is the man that we have in charge of our
They're
country.
both referencing Christopher Columbus.
Well, he doesn't understand
So what
the
do you wanna
nuance
call
of
it?
any of it. What did he suggest? Something about like the District of
Trumpia?
America or something. I forget what he. I forget.
Americas.
I forget.
We're gonna call it Americas. It'll be great. It'll be the
Everything's
District
just
of
going to be called
Americas.
America by the end of these 4 years.
It's a
It'll
shame that
become
it's so.
Uniticus Americas. District of
shame that it's
Americas,
so
Uniticus
devastating.
Americas.
It's so funny if it was just
Oh my God.
fictional. If it was fictional, it'd be pretty great. It'd be
Did
really entertaining.
Did you hear the thing you said about like we got to get rid of this time change thing because can you imagine your mother's on a deathbed and then the hour gets put forward and then all of a sudden mom's dead it's been pushed forward an hour and your mother's dead.
You could have had that hour to talk to your mother. Suddenly you
terrible.
lost it. Gone.
It's terrible. Your mother's
Oh.
I'm over it. Dude,
Man,
it is a bizarre world we live in.
Jesus.
What's he going to do with New Mexico?
dead. New America.
He hasn't
New
started.
Amer- yeah.
I haven't heard
New
yet,
America.
New
Yeah.
America, yeah. Just going to change all of it. No more states. It's America. That's it. It's too confusing. Utah? What is that? I don't know. Your Trump impression is better than mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
no,
got a
it's
good
pretty
one.
fucked up. Yeah, I'm trying to just cover up my rage.
I know.
Good. You got to kind of laugh through it,
Thanks.
you know?
Yeah.
I was actually just watching a documentary on Winston Churchill and like the Blitz and everything and like
Yeah.
his kind of moral or not moral, just kind of his strength and like encouragement to like keep the British people's like, you know, their, what am I trying to say? Not their morals, their,
Values.
no,
Ethics.
not even that. Like their
Morale.
mental well-being, their
Morale.
morale.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's why I was
morale,
going to
yeah.
keep the morale up. Like that was his like
Yeah.
the one thing he probably did better than anything is like
Yeah.
keeping Britain's morale up while
Yes.
Britain is just like trying to
Being-
invade them and
Yes.
bomb them and everything.
Yes.
It's a lot of I don't know. It's very like we need to be strong now more than
do
ever.
need to
You
be
know,
strong,
and we shouldn't
yeah.
just be like, oh, it's so bad and like we're fucked. You got to have those thoughts sometimes, but like we also it's our job right now to be like, you know, stay
Go
strong
fuck yourself.
and go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
And go
Yeah.
fuck yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We got to be direct and we got to be strong.
For sure. Yeah. I'm feeling very punk rock.
Good.
That's pretty much how I'm feeling. Like I was talking to my friend who's like a older Gen X than I am, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm getting right back to my punk rock roots." And I really feel that. You know what I mean? Where it's just like that level of like joy, but also like ready to curb stomp a bitch. I'm not gonna curb stomp anybody, but like internally,
Sure.
there's that thing of like, you know, see a Nazi, punch a Nazi. Like I just
Yeah.
feel like I have no fucks left to give kind of thing. Like I'm not gonna be nice. If you say some
I
shit,
don't owe you niceness.
yeah, I don't owe you niceness. If you say some shit to me, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, like
Right.
I'm gonna say some shit back, like it's just like that, and then I'm gonna go smile and turn around and walk away. Like I'm gonna have a nice day. Thank you. I'll have a nice day. Thanks.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I think that's the right approach.
Yeah. Because joy on some level is, well, not just on some level, it is like a way to resist. You know, if my life gets fucked up, if your life gets fucked up, if our days get fucked up, then like the terrorists win. You know, like, no. I need
Yeah.
to function.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like the world needs us to not fall apart right now, you know?
For
like,
real.
You know, the only thing to fear is fear itself. Like if we're all
Thank you, Teddy.
melting,
Yes.
I
yeah.
think it was Franklin actually.
Thank you, Franklin.
But if we're all melting, like, yeah, it's a
I thought that was a JFK quote. No, it was.
no.
Thank you,
JFK
President.
said, thank you,
Thank you,
Dad.
America.
Thank you, America.
folklore, Whatever
Thank you,
the
America.
Thank you,
American
America.
propaganda. Just-
America.
These are the lines of our lives.
Jesus
Well, that was
Christ, I
another
need
speech
some
that
history.
like helped morale, you know, like and morale is it's so intangible but surprisingly important. And
It
like
is.
if you fall off a roof, or if you like
Yes.
your morale, your spirit, your ability to kind of stay positive and work through something is essential.
It has a lot to
Yeah.
do with your stamina, for sure.
Yeah, like we watched the show Alone. You ever watch that show?
No.
It's really cool.
pretty
It's a reality
fun.
show. 10 people get put in the wilderness, like spread out. So you're totally by yourself and you just got to survive. And whoever makes it the longest gets like $500,000.
What?
But you can tell right away if someone's like close, and if they kind of tap themselves out. Like they have a
always see
walkie-talkie
it
and they
coming.
can say like, I'm officially tapping out. Like when they
Yeah.
get to that limit. And you can hear it like
You can hear
starting.
it.
As soon as their like morale starts to kind of break, you're like, they're gonna
They'll
make a
say
call
something,
very
you
soon.
know, it's like, I can't believe I missed my son's 2nd birthday. And then we just go like, tap talk.
That's tap talk. They're gonna tap out, and then
And then
it's
sure enough,
not long before
they fall.
And it's not like they rarely are pulled out because they can't get enough food. It's like the morality.
Yeah.
Their morale.
morale.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Morale.
Yeah.
I'm misusing some of this word, but yeah,
Right,
their
I do
morale.
that all the time.
Their conviction is,
Yeah.
is like the most essential
Yeah.
for survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
there's
sense.
Good lessons in there.
Yeah.
It's a great show. It's a reality show with like no drama, bullshit, no like manipulation. It's just trying to
Well,
survive.
then what's the fucking point?
you get surprised. It's pretty good. It's a pretty
You know
good
what
show.
I find? It's fascinating because I think probably all the people that go on are like survivalist types, which
Yeah.
I'm not in that world, you know. Like I'm curious about it, but I'm nowhere close to being a part of that. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to see the skills people have, just like
Right.
the way they make nets, the way they know how to use snares, and like I saw there's one lady who collected all these rabbit pelts, and then she would take the hides and twist them repeatedly and turn like this tiny little rabbit fur into like a 30-foot piece of yarn somehow.
Yeah.
And then she knitted those together to make scarves and stuff for herself. I'm like, how the hell?
intense.
What little sicko just sat there spinning a freaking hide over and over again and stretching it out for 30 feet and like just definition of playing with your food, I guess. We've always done it.
Well, and that's how we survived the Ice Age, probably. You know, like
It's really remarkable. I mean, as frustrated as I am with humanity presently, I guess there are still some wins and things to be inspired by, even though.
Can be.
Yeah, there can be. It's a little both and.
It's a little both and. It is. I don't know. I have a hard time sitting down and talking to people who are really into survivalist stuff. Like I feel like there's some kind of personality imbalance. It's kind of like how people talk about like the old school concept of like a shaman, like yeah, they've got like they're tapped into the other side, but they're also really fucking crazy.
Right.
You know, like yeah, they're gonna be walking backwards the whole time. Like that's how I feel about like talking to a survivalist and be like, yeah, tell me about how to make a basket out of your saliva, and then like I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
Like don't tell me about all of your conspiracy
We better
theories.
not
I'm
be
done.
alone
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
room
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
telling me this story. That's all
like,
I'm going to say.
Yeah, I need
Write
I
it
need
down. Maybe
my
I'll
husband
read
to
it
know
later.
where I am.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll meet you in a public place.
Uh-huh. For sure. Yeah,
Totally.
like, is eating me part of your survival technique? Because
Yeah,
from the sounds of it, if you needed to do it, I think you would eat me.
For real.
You know, so
Yeah.
let's...
Oh
what do we
God,
do?
there's like one guy, and I don't know what. Like, okay, look, I know I have some kind of weirdness on my phone, like, because I'm like to watch a lot of weird fucking videos on my phone, like the stories or whatever. I know, like for a while, I woke up and I was like sitting on my phone on Instagram watching like an hour of videos because I just like full on did not want to get out of bed. So I would like watch a lot of weird videos, but at some point, what is it, like an algorithm? Is that what the kids are calling it these days? My algorithm led me to this guy who calls himself, and I know a lot of people call themselves a double spirit shaman, but this guy, he's like this guy who's like a Scottish American, and he was talking about perthing, which is pissing and pushing his bladder into the earth. But he was like, you need to, and thankfully it was only from like this, but he's like, I am here in the Scotland Highlands, and I've pulled my penis and my beautiful balls out, and they're waving, and the hair's weaving in the air, and I'm birthing, and I'm pissing into the earth. Like
Peeing outside?
Yeah, just peeing outside. But he's like, and then I'm just telling you how to birth by pissing into the earth and pushing your beautiful bladder. But he's obviously like trying to force like a Scottish accent, like birthing. And then like, I was like, this is horrifying, but I can't look away. And then like, before I know it, I'm like getting a bunch of these videos, and he's talking about like his, what was it? His stink portal. Yeah, his stink portal. He's like covered in sweat, and he's like, I've got a bunch of food poisoning, so I'm smelling my stink portal. I'm smelling, yeah. And I was like, this is horrifying. And the next thing I know, it's like, he's got a huge following of people who just can't look away. Like none of us like this guy.
Right. But there's like so many shares. Like
so much of the
like,
internet is that energy, which is so weird.
So much.
Yeah.
And he just wants to have like heterosexual circle jerks with guys.
Great.
Yeah. And like scream out his homophobic fear, which sounds like "Bleh." And and I can't look away, and I can't stop talking about it. So,
Right. I always wonder with people like
Got
that.
you
like,
right where he wants
he's
you.
got me where he wants
right
me,
in
and
the
I
perther.
right in the stink portal,
right
and
in
I
the stink portal.
And so now I feel like I've really been gotten by this weird spiritual survivalist.
So mine, like my little rabbit hole recently was like trad wives. And
What are trad wives?
So there's like a whole trend now to be like a very
Wait, is that a traditional wife?
Traditional wife.
Oh,
so like a
God,
50s wife. Like I baked you muffins.
Which is not traditional at all.
No, but it's really weird. There's a person called, what's her
Look
name?
at your
Like,
face when you did that.
I mean, isn't
if
it?
you go to like the Ballerina Farm, I think is her name. What? She was a Juilliard ballerina and dropped out to start having babies for this douche.
I
And
hate this so much already.
I know. But you won't be able to look away. And she has 9 kids or something now. And she lives in Montana or some shit. And you just see her all the time, like making so much bread. She just makes so much bread all the time. There's no one needs that much bread. But this, I don't know. I guess she's got 10, 11 mouths to feed. Like she needs it.
You know what I want?
It's wild.
I want the perther and the ballerina to like be on opposite side, like opposite corners of like a boxing match.
I think she could
just
take them.
I don't know.
Sounds soft.
I don't know.
She's gonna pee on her. She's gonna be
if he-
throwing bread. That's her
If
special
he
move.
starts coming at
Red
her
pellets.
with his stink portal hands,
Yeah, exactly.
She's got 9 kids. You think a
and
little
she's
poop's
like,
gonna freak her
and
out?
he's like, and he's like trying to like scream out his homophobia. I mean, like, she might just like, I don't know, is she gonna arabesque around him? What is she gonna do? But like, this is gonna be, yeah.
This could be the new like celebrity death match. You remember that show? You know, It's like, I wish Instagram would categorize a view, like an ironic view, differently. You know, like because these people probably
interesting
see like
concept.
I got 1 million views, like I am blowing up, like people fucking love me. That's probably what Perther Boy and she tells themselves. Like they are not seeing that these are like ironic, these are satirical views. You know, like. You're watching it sort of ironically. You're making fun of them as you watch it, but from their perspective, it's just like I got 1 million fucking
I
views.
thought that
I wish
sometimes-
it knew that I'm watching it
I
ironically.
thought that because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like liking all this like Trump stuff online, and I'm like, well, I hate this, but I'm liking it because I appreciate you bringing me this story.
Yeah.
You know, but I wish there was a
It's
difference
an
where I could be like,
anti-Trump thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Or
not
like-
like a pro-Trump thing. You're not saying like I like it,
right, but like exactly,
but you don't like.
Or, like,
you're not
certain
saying I
headlines.
like that
Oddly,
he
it
made
feels
it to go
like a
from
Trump
America.
thing.
right. So I want to be able to determine like I wish there was a way to differentiate between like, yeah, no, I hate this, but thank you for telling us.
I like
But
that
doesn't
you
it
said-
like
yeah.
horribly feel like a Trump thing? Like, can't you see them both like unifying in a Trump rally? Like, I just feel like,
the trad wife and the Perther?
yeah, like,
Oh,
same
sure.
team. Two sides of the same coin.
For sure. September 6th, just like, oh, I'm gonna get Nancy Pelosi. She's trying to turn us all gay.
she's like, wait,
let me make you a nice little bread throne for you to sit
Yeah,
on
I'll bake it
while
from
you take a
scratch.
shit on Nancy Pelosi's chest.
I heard she's allergic to gluten. Give her this bread. All those liberals are allergic to gluten.
You eat this bread so you have a nice gluten-y shit on the desk. You know, I think, but that's a really, I like the Perther versus the birther. Ding, ding, ding.
Perther versus the birther. There we go.
Yeah, like,
It's got a good ring to
Wow,
it.
that's the, you're a good, like, fight promoter, you know? You're like Don King. Yeah. Perther versus the birther. Come on. Oh, God. We're in such a weird world. I mean, I think it's probably always felt weird and been weird, but it's weird.
It's never felt weirder to me than now.
no, not
mean, I
even
think
during the pandemic. I felt like the
No.
pandemic was like, and now this.
Yeah, now we've begun.
Yeah.
To get weird.
Yeah.
It was the
It's like,
beginning.
yeah, we're just here. I am pandemic, and I'm just here to kind of bring you into the next, like, life when everything just turns to shit.
Do you think society is still
There was,
just
like,
recovering from the pandemic, you know? Like,
Have we recovered?
like have we recovered?
I
That's
don't
what I'm saying.
think
Like,
so.
as a, like, our psyche, everything, our emotions, we're acting like lunatics. And
Yeah.
not just Republicans. A lot of people are just acting kind of like lunatics.
I'm acting like a lunatic.
I'm a
How are you
lunatic.
guys?
I'm a full
I feel
Not
like
me,
a
I'm a lunatic. But, like, are they going to look back in like 50 years and be
Yes.
like, oh, there was at least a good 15 years there where
They were
people
fucked.
still lost their fucking minds and did not, you know, get it together.
I think everybody is gone for like a lifetime. I think we have like lifetime worth of just doneness. Like
So
I think
we got to die out.
in 50 years, generations are going to be doing studies on everybody and being like, this generation's trauma has, you know, shown up like this. This generation's trauma has shown up like this. This
Right.
generation's trauma showed up like this. Like it's going to be social.
So we don't fully recover.
Yeah, I don't
If you
think
grew up
so.
in the Depression, even when you're 85, you're still like saving.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think it's going to be. I think
good
that they're
point.
going to be doing like soft science studies on how this affected everybody at every strata.
And this affected the entire globe
Yes.
at the same time, which would be
Yes.
like a very fascinating thing
Oh,
to
yeah.
see.
Yeah, from like child development perspective too, because I was working. Well, started working at a school like during the pandemic. But yeah, like early kids who their first few years of lives included masks over their mouths and masks over everybody's mouth while they're trying to develop language is like so damaging,
facial
so
recognition.
bad.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the teleschool was obviously works for some kids. It's not going to work for the majority of them or a lot of them. And the literacy rate, like the way kids are testing now, has nowhere near recovered. I mean, like really, really poor scores.
An emotional connection, social connection.
Yeah. So like, how is that group of kids gonna keep aging out? How are they gonna recover from that? Because
Eventually,
I
one of those kids
know
will be the
for
president of the
certainty
United
that our
States.
Department of Education, that's almost not going to exist anymore soon, is not going to be able to
It's
fix
actually
it.
the Department of Americation.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
correction.
Who's
Good
Ed?
job.
I mean,
Donaldcation, I think, is better.
Donald.
I don't know Ed. Okay, I don't like him.
No one likes Ed.
He's the worst.
He's the worst. Literally
He's
the
the
worst.
worst.
I walked in, I said, "Wow, Ed's the worst, isn't he?"
Everybody hates him. Nobody likes him. Everybody hates him the most.
They hate him the most. He's the
He's a
most
loser.
hated.
A
He's the
loser.
most
And then who's the most
Everybody
beloved?
hates
Some people say I'm the most beloved.
Everybody
I
says.
certainly say so.
Everybody
Most
says it.
beloved.
Everybody says
Donald-ification.
so. Donaldification.
Crazy thing. Like, if you would have told me, like, oh, it's like an Onion article. Like, Donald Trump's going to change Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Oh yeah.
you know, it is so crazy. The
It
world.
is nuts. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay, your ceramics. I do want to talk more about your
Oh yeah,
ceramics
look,
a little
look,
bit.
there's,
Like,
one, there's a piece of yours right here.
oh, let's bring it out.
Oh my God. By the way, I have the atlas that I wanted to give you. It's in the car.
It's very beautiful.
So cool. Yeah, and it's got this, like, what is this called? Like, this thing for maps. It shows, like, elevation,
Topography.
right? Topography. Thank you.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell you too because I felt like I misrepresented a lot of this. So I got just like inspiration from some peaks that I was looking at, and there were just like little pieces of peaks that I was looking at from government maps online from like different little parts of peaks from like the Chiricahuas and the
cool.
Catalinas and the Rincons and the Santa Ritas and things like that. And I was like taking little pieces of them.
Wow, so those are
special.
real peaks.
Yeah.
That
Those
is
are
really
Arizona
cool.
peaks.
Arizona peaks, yeah. And
Tucson
just
peaks.
like, and then a little bit every once in a while I would like jam off of it so it's not completely accurate because I am not
That's okay.
like that
I'm not either.
super great at it, but I just love I love topographic maps. I
Yeah,
think
me
they're
too.
really beautiful. You
They
know?
are. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love maps in general. You kind of turned me on to maps. Like you're the first person I knew that had like a framed, just like a map in your house, and I was like, oh, maps
Yeah.
are freaking cool.
Yeah.
I studied geography and English at the U of A, so I was always nerding out on maps.
That's
It's a
awesome.
fun thing to find.
Well, there's a massive Nat Geo atlas in the car for you.
Thank you so much. That's
Yeah.
so generous.
It's super exciting to give you.
And so your ceramics, I mean, when did you start kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say like when did you go legit, but when did you kind of like, so you've committed to it, you're selling it, you're at markets, you're like, you know, was there like a sort of tipping point for that?
Yeah, so when I got sober, when I like 13 years ago, I had no idea how I was going to pay the rent. I had no idea how I was going to pay the bills, and I started getting commissions. So that's kind of when I started, and then at the same time, I started working for another artist, doing like piecework for her and making a lot of things for her. So she would like have these bulbs that she would raku with, and I would do that with her, and then she'd like string them up from wire and hang them in like big like conglomerates in people's homes and in businesses, and she would sell them for like $10, $15, $20,000 and pay me like $10 an hour.
You're like, oh, wait a second.
And I threw about 3,000 of them for her.
Wow.
So that worked out for about a year and a half, 2 years, and my skill level really went up.
Sure.
And also I did a lot of like really high craft, fine craft carving work that I don't do as much anymore. That had like a lot of insects on it, like cicadas and Luna moths and things like that. That looked like kind of Victorian tea sets and things like that. But it's just not really where my heart is, you know? So I like more contemporary work. I like to be able to express myself, and I like maximalism. I want it to be more colorful. So yeah, that happened, and I just decided I wanted to branch out, and at the same time, I just couldn't figure out how to be a business person. I didn't have any faith in myself. What do they call that? They call it...
Imposter syndrome?
Yes, thank you. Lots of imposter syndrome. So I would go at it. I would make a bunch of stuff. I would have a hard time selling it, and I would go, oh, I'm shit. I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. And so then I try to find like a 9-to-5 job, and I would do that for a while, and then I would have a hard time with my PTSD, and I would lose the job, and I would come back to my studio and make stuff, and I wouldn't be able to sell it very well because I wasn't like going at it and sticking with it. And then I would go, oh, I'm shit. So it was like a cycle.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
keep going through. And then the pandemic happened, and I was working in a retirement community as a receptionist. And I had that job. It was really great. But that was like really, really bad because I was like taking 400 temperatures twice a day and trying to like...
Oh my gosh, and such a
Yeah.
vulnerable population. Too.
Very vulnerable population. And trying to like keep people away from their parents while their parents were dying of like natural causes or heart attacks or whatever. It was like really, really hard. And after a while, I just couldn't get out of bed. And so I quit that job and crawled into my studio just to like survive emotionally. And stayed there. And my husband was like, just stay there. Like, that's where I want you to be. I will support us. You just try to be there. And then I got hit by a mortuary.
As one does, you know. That's so crazy.
man.
Then I got hit by a mortuary van, and I couldn't figure out my style. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I couldn't figure out who I was as an artist. And I was trying to recuperate, and I had this big lawsuit. I got like a bunch of money after a while, and I had a good conversation with a couple of artists, and they were like, just be who you are. Just do the thing that it comes naturally to you.
Yeah, it kind of falls out of you.
Yeah. And something I've been resisting for a long time, because I thought I have to be different. I have to find my niche. I have to figure out how, where my market is. I have to do all of these things that I'd heard other people talk about, but I wasn't listening to my internal self, And this person that I was talking to was like, what do you want to do? What do you feel driven to do? What feels good? What makes you happy? And I was so relieved when I started thinking about that. I cried. I was like, oh God, I know what I want to do, but is anybody going to like it? And they said, who gives a fuck? If you're doing something somebody else wants you to do, God forbid they like it.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck doing that, and it's like a prison. And you're doing that, and you hate it. I thought, oh God, that's true. So I just started following what I wanted to do. And that's what I've been doing, which is going back to my roots and looking at the desert, which is where I grew up. Like, I used to run out into the desert when I was 3 years old. And before anybody woke up, with bare feet, just a little kid. And I would just run through the desert, and I just loved the desert. I loved all of the plants and the animals and everything else. And I'm just in love with where we live. So that's
really such a special place.
Yeah. And I am very spiritual. Like when I was 8, I fell into a trance, and I just saw like these big like tunnels going everywhere. And I heard a voice say, pick one. And it meant like, pick a direction you need to go in. It was like a maze, like a labyrinth. I just like picked a direction. And I knew that, when you were asking earlier, like, were you afraid of death? Did you have a better sense of life? And I just had this feeling when I was 8 years old, like, there is no worry about life. Life is not really a game, but it's just a thing that we're doing, and it's a big continuation. So whatever I'm doing here, I picked my direction when I was a kid. And I've had like a lot of trances like that throughout my life. Like used to meditate every day as a teenager for hours on end and be in those like tunnels and do that, and just be with the animals and be with the plants. And I'm an animist. I have been since I was a kid. And it's a very spiritual thing for me. Like if you look at like my carvings that are more complex, it's not just about like the plants, it's about all of the spaces between the plants, because it's about all of the energy that connects everything. Because I really believe that we're all connected and everything affects everything, So
An animist. What does that mean?
It means that everything has, maybe not like traditionally they say it like everything has a spirit to it, but it's just that everything is connected.
Cool.
Yeah. So like, I guess scientists would say that like the energy that runs through everything, or like, there's not like a glass that's half empty or a glass that's half full. The glass is always full, because it's just, what is it full of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's, that was beautiful. That was amazing. But yeah, there's sort of this like life force, and it's in me, it's in you, it's in grass, it's in a tree. It's the same thing.
Yes.
Same thing.
We're all made,
in all of us. That's just what it looks like in you, and this is what it looks like in me, and
Yeah.
Wow, really cool that you kind of had this perspective at such a young age. I think that's maybe rare or maybe common, but if it's common, it's not common that like you remember those experiences. Maybe as a kid, people have these like because we're kids, we're not shaped yet, but we forget them. It's cool you held on to that. Like, did you ever have a time when you forgot, and as an adult you're like, holy shit, I had a fucking trance when I was 8, or you carried it with you always?
I carried it with me always, but there's
cool.
like a lot of experiences I had when I was a kid that were very scary. But they've been reaffirmed to me as an adult with teachers that have like helped me to understand them now, so they're not scary looking back. Like, I would pee my bed a lot when I was a kid because I was afraid to get out of bed because there were like dead people around my bed, or like they looked like skeletons around my bed. And now looking back, like having a teacher to tell me about what that was, they were just like my ancestors standing around my bed. Wow. And I just didn't want to get out of bed because it was like just dead people around my bed,
Wow.
Spooky.
Have you heard of the
scary,
Yes. Spooky.
spooky scary?
spooky weirdo? Sara's a weirdo.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's incredible though to have that ability to like see and perceive and feel things in a different plane, a different way.
Have you heard of the telepathy tapes?
Which ones?
Like this, it's a podcast.
Oh no.
So this woman started studying, like, I forget how. I haven't listened to the podcast, but I listened to a long interview with her. Mm-hmm. And she was studying telepathy in children, basically.
Interesting.
And went down this rabbit hole of like, there's so many. She's found so many parents who say like, my child is like reading my mind and no one will believe me. And then there's teachers who are saying like, these kids are like, some of these kids are talking to each other telepathically.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's dove into it so much that like, it's like some children are telepathic, and like, especially in people who are nonverbal, like they have no ability to speak with their mouth. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, we've just regarded them as stupid, frankly, which is like such a mistake to think, oh, just because you can't speak, like there's nothing going on inside. But now with technology that these people can type and can like, find ways to actually communicate, you're realizing like they're in there, like there's a fully intelligent human in there. And also because they never had this like speech ability, they never lost or developed this like psychic ability. It's really fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, what I've been taught is that we all have the capability to be telepathic. And that some people, as my teacher says, she says, we can all run, but some of us are going to be in the Olympics, know? But yeah, I mean, I've worked with people who have like cerebral palsy. They have like a communication board or a communication device. And they're nonverbal, but they've like been treated like they're children since the time that they were little, But they're like highly intelligent people, Yeah, and oftentimes I remember getting into conversations with people and they'll say like, yeah, I've experienced like hauntings, or I've seen spirits, or I've had those experiences. They just don't have a way to communicate about it because they're nonverbal, or nobody asks them or spends time enough to sit down and just listen.
Or dismisses it as some crazy story. Right.
Yeah. I think it scares people. Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah.
People are scared.
People are scared if people are out there reading your mind too, or just like,
yeah.
It's if telepathy is real, like that means that we actually know nothing about the world we live in, and that's a scary thought too. Like when you
confronting a new reality.
Yeah, exactly, confronting a new reality.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just, you made me think of it when you're talking about just being a kid and having these.
I think it happens a lot. Like
you
guys probably have had some telepathy between the two of you.
Yeah, like totally moments.
Yeah,
finishing each other's thoughts, or I joke we share a brain.
Nice. Cameras are dying. We're an hour and a half in. This is great. We don't usually go this long. This is we're just having so much fun.
We're just jamming.
We're just jamming.
Well, it's what happens when we're like butthole bonded.
Yeah.
Once a butthole bud, always a butthole bud.
Well, This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Really fun, Sarah.
Like hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, thanks
Really
for
good.
doing this. I really appreciate you
Well, yeah.
making it happen.
Well, I
and-
was really like looking forward to hanging out with you guys.
yeah, it's
Come
fun.
back sometime. We
sure.
want to have
Yeah,
days where we
let's
just
make
host
art.
art, like come make art and we'll make music and just kind of
So much.
spend a day
Yeah.
just creating shit and being kids, you know.
That would be so much fun. I'll bring some crayons.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
exactly.
Yes, bring
I'll
your
bring
friends.
chalk. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sperm saliva.
Yes, sperm saliva. We'll go collect some in the
Oh,
ocean. Well, all right, this has been amazing. I'm honestly really inspiring talking to you and your whole
yeah,
story
same.
and where you are now. It's
Oh my God, same. You're all like recovered from falling off of a floor building.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well,
Humans
and
are
I don't
amazing.
even think I'm not even sure I told you this, but there's a shop party at Blue Maven in Pueblo House Saturday from
Yeah.
6 to 9. She's going to be there.
Oh, great. I'll see you
So-
Saturday.
Yeah, we'll
Awesome.
get to hang out again soon.
Nice.
Killer. Great. Well, we get to see
So
each other
yeah,
soon.
don't be so sad, okay?
Okay, thank you. So you could read my mind
I
that I was
could.
sad. Yeah. Where can people find your ceramicist stuff?
On Instagram at Connected Earth Clayworks and also online at www.connectedearthclay.
Nice.
Awesome. Super
Cool.
cool. All
I
right.
haven't actually shopped online. I'll check it out.
Sweet.
Cool.
Great. Sarah, thank you again for doing
Yeah.
this. This was a real treat.
Woohoo.
Hell yeah.
great.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Like paparazzi.
Yeah. You guys can go. now.
Enough of you.
We're done.